Stop blaming your high blood pressure on worry or even your age. There are several factors, though these two are factors, but most times they are the least of the factors that cause elevated blood pressure for you. There are various lifestyle food choices we make on a daily basis that contributing to high blood pressure. And in this video, I want to share 7 common habits and food choices that are causing your blood pressure to rise and sometimes not even being able to be controlled despite the medications. Number 1, overweight. If you are overweight, whether you are an older adult, whether you're a younger person, do something fast about it. Fight that weight before it begins to cause high blood pressure for you. And so that is why I said it's not a function of your age it's not so much a function of your age to as you get older. Yes, it is sometimes a factor, but most times it is not, because these days we have younger people, younger adults coming up with high blood pressure, especially if you are overweight. And so it's not overweight. I mean, it's not all the time age that causes the high blood pressure. Reduce weight, and it's very easy and simple. Number 2, exercising. Lack of activity. When you stay in one place, if you are doing a sedentary job, you don't exercise, don't move your body, don't move your organs, over time you may begin to experience things like high blood pressure. Number 3, stop processed food. Reduce processed foods. They come with a lot of sodium, trans fats, and if there is imbalance of sodium and potassium in your body, as a matter of fact, your blood pressure will be on the increase. Now, your body is actually meant to be more of potassium, to have more of this electrolyte potassium than the sodium. But because of the food choices we are making on a daily basis, choosing more of processed food that comes with not just the sodium, the good salt, but the refined table salt, which is even more acidic. And so when you are consuming too much of processed foods, ready-to-eat meals, canned foods, ready-to-eat breakfast cereals, and all those things that comes with food that comes with flavorings, colorings, artificial taste enhancers, and the rest of it, you are already predisposing yourself to high blood pressure. And so if you are in that habit, you should be getting ready, because very soon your BP may start to be on the increase despite your age. And then the next one is avoid inflammation causing foods. Most of them are in this category already mentioned: trans fats, butters, margarines, and sometimes they are even hidden in most of the products you are consuming on a daily basis, such as bread, biscuits. They are all source of trans fats. If you are consuming these foods on a regular basis, whether you are a young man, a young lady, or an older adult, you are preparing a favorable ground for high blood pressure. And if you are not having high blood pressure already and you want to prevent or avoid it, you better start going low on these food sources of trans fats, or whether you are using them to cook, because you can find them also in supermarkets. Beautifully labeled with beautiful commercials such as heart friendly and all of that, cholesterol friendly. Don't be carried away by all these beautiful commercials. If you want to go for fat, go for real fat, naturally occurring fats. Stop all those trans fats that comes from most of these vegetable oils, because they will soon start causing your blood pressure to be on the increase. The next one, you have to also avoid too much caffeine. Now, caffeine does not only come from coffee or black teas. We have other naturally occurring sources of caffeine, even the bitter cola, which is a healthy nut, which is recommended for a lot of ailments when taken also in excess or too frequently. it may cause elevated blood pressure for you. There are other food sources that you need to also be on the guard against caffeine, whether the caffeine is naturally occurring or whichever, because if you don't do that, they will soon start causing your blood pressure to rise. And now if you are consuming too much of cooked food, yes, when you are consuming too much of cooked food, it's also a way you're consuming too much of salt. Include raw foods in your diet. Raw foods like cucumbers. Some of you don't bother about raw foods. Raw foods like citrus, raw food like pineapples, raw foods like cabbage, apples. These are foods that contains potassium and other nutrients, and apart from that, they are equally low in calorie. Other nutrients that helps you to build up a good and healthy blood pressure. Now, if you have been excluding nuts in your diet, it's also time for you to begin to include nuts, because if you don't, over time you begin to experience deficiency in most of these nutrients, because they are very good sources of these nutrients: magnesium, potassium, and all of other, including calcium. Now, some of you are not even aware that calcium is very critical in regulating your blood pressure. Yes, you heard me. And so by the time you start avoiding foods like milk, you start avoiding some foods because of health or age or for whatever reason, or because of medical advice, over time you begin to be deficient in important minerals and electrolytes like calcium, potassium, magnesium. And I tell you the truth, many of you are not aware. Calcium is very, very critical when it comes to regulating your blood pressure. And so you need to also look for good sources that also will not affect your blood pressure negatively. You need to include blood thinners. Yes, blood thinners like ginger, garlic. Some of you don't bother about blood thinners. Blood thinners are very important. And no wonder if you go to hospital for medications for high blood pressure, most times you are also giving blood thinners, because blood thinners are important. If your blood continues to thicken, especially with older adults, over time your blood pressure begins to be on the rise. And surprisingly also, some good and healthy foods contribute to thickening our blood. Thickening the blood in excess is the exact opposite of thinning the blood. So we have to ensure that we include blood thinners, black peppers, cayenne peppers, turmeric. These are, most spices are in this category. Include spices, naturally occurring spices, moderately in your diet to help thin out your blood, reduce the risk of high blood pressure, including complications like stroke. And so if you have been avoiding them or you've not been taking them, start including them moderately. And also remember that the blood thinners are also, the blood thickeners are also found in most of the healthy foods that we take on it. Now, high calorie food. You must beware of consuming foods that are too much of high calorie, because high calorie foods, too much high calorie foods. Watch out for people who are always consuming, always consuming high calorie foods, like you want to take swallow every day, you want to take with thick soup and all of that. It may soon start giving you elevated blood pressure, especially for older adults. You must beware of this very high calorie food. Okay, you may ask me, say, which ones are they? Cassava is one of them. Red palm oil is high in calorie. Even the healthy nuts like peanuts, like cashew nuts, they are all very good for you in terms of cholesterol and your brain health and your heart health and others. But when we take them in excess, not minding, it's going to cause weight gain, and with weight gain comes elevated blood pressure. Now this one, a lot of you already know this, but I need to remind us. Animal protein, red meat. Yes, red meat. You need to go low on foods like that. Milk, animal protein. You need to go very, very low. But you should also watch out for omega-3 food sources, to include them moderately in your diet, such as fatty fish, because those ones that are healthy for you. But beware of, acidic foods that are very difficult to digest. Animal protein, reduce acid forming foods, include alkaline foods from raw veggies, and do not worry too much. Worry is the least, and some of you are putting it as number one. So immediately you say you're having high blood pressure, people attribute it to worry. Say you are worrying. It's not about worrying, my dear. Worrying is maybe part of it, but it is even the least of it, because most of the things you worry about, you can do nothing about it. If you like this message, subscribe to this channel for more messages like this. And thank you for watching.